Cecil French trained as a painter, but it was as a collector that he found his real passion. French bought works by some of his artistic contemporaries like Frederick Cayley Robinson and William Shackleton, but he was also collecting works by the great Victorian painters Edward Burne-Jones, Frederick Leighton and Lawrence Alma-Tadema, amongst others. These artists at the time had really massively fallen out of favour and out of fashion, and in leaving his collection to the public, French was trying to preserve their memory and their artwork. Edward Burne-Jones produced at least 7 different versions of the Wheel of Fortune in different media and materials. This is a large-scale watercolour with body colour painting from the 1870s, and it's one of the later versions of the Wheel of Fortune which Burne-Jones produced. The last one was an oil painting finished in 1883, which is now in the Musée d'Orsay in Paris. William Morris and Edward Burne-Jones met at Oxford University in the 1850s and established a long-term friendship and working relationship. In the 1860s, William Morris was publishing an epic poem he'd written called Earthly Paradise, which was a kind of retelling of ancient myths. Burne-Jones produced hundreds of illustrations for the poem, but in fact these were never used. They did become useful to Burne-Jones though as inspiration for later paintings, including this painting of Cupid delivering Psyche. This painting, Mariana in the South, takes its inspiration from a poem by Tennyson, which is in turn inspired by Shakespeare's play Measure to Measure. Waterhouse often took inspiration from Tennyson poems, perhaps most famously in his work The Lady of Shalott, which is now in the Tate Gallery. This painting is Apricots by Albert Moore, and it's the first painting which Moore signed with an Anthemian device rather than his own signature. And that's because during this period he was experimenting and developing his aesthetic style. Aestheticism is all about this idea of art for art's sake, that art should be something beautiful to look at and not something to convey a kind of deep meaning. And by turning his signature into a symbol, Albert Moore was suggesting that even the signature on the painting should be something decorative rather than something directly kind of meaningful. When Cecil French died, he owned over 25 works by Edward Burne-Jones, the biggest number by any single artist in the collection. Burne-Jones had an artist's studio house on North End Road in Fulham in West London, and it's this local connection which resulted in over 50 works from French's bequest, ending up in the collection of the London Borough of Hammersmith and Fulham.